each one of those was a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loaded up the interrogatives. Lost Hamster says, "How's development on Band Saga going? It looks great?" ?
Oh. It looks great.
The question marks in this are very odd. The terrible misuse of
looks great.
Of
I don't know if it actually is great.
I don't know. It looks great. Could be good. Probably sucks. Murders. I don't know. Base jumping.
Yes.
Band Saga is primarily a game about base jumping, right?
Yeah, it's about base jumping. It's about base kicking.
Yeah. Oh.
And
that was slick.
I was gonna say base sniffing too, but I shouldn't say that. But yeah, the development is going great, I guess. This is the toughest game I've ever made. Like every game that I've made up until this point, I've made like in less than like 3 months. And Band Saga is a game that I've been working on for like 3 years, almost. So, and I think that's because it's just completely experimental, and like, you know, when it's working on something like hybrid, you it's kind of like trial and error. As soon as you start working on it, you run into a wall and you're like, oh man, okay, that's not gonna work. So then you gotta kind of start over, and you know, you don't want it to suck, obviously. So you just gotta keep trying things until you find the sweet spot, I guess. And I think we finally found the sweet spot, and we're finally getting to where we need to be. But it's been pretty tough. So it's going great now.
Right on. We have another question. Triptide says, Starr Mazer, okay, so what are your thoughts on the differences of the kind of game all of you are making? And what is getting your attention, particularly both good and bad points, if there is? I'm not sure about the attention thing. I can say the differences are... So, Rekcahdam's got a music, fantasy, awesome RPG? It's not really RPG. It's more... I mean, it seems like it tells a story in an RPG manner, but...
It's. I wouldn't say it's an RPG. So, it's more like it's kind of like a Zelda like slash roguelike, I would say.
Yeah. So action adventure game.
Yeah, action
Zelda-like,
adventure,
right? I guess it's a music Zelda-like, which is totally different from Galaxy, which is primarily an arcade shooter style, right?
Correct. Yeah. No music. I mean, we have music, but music doesn't influence the gameplay. The gameplay does influence the music. That's where it's kind of cool. We have a dynamic soundtrack. We basically built a tool in Unity, which we're using to make the game, that acts a lot like Ableton, the music tool, and so we can set up tracks, and there's like dynamic crossfade and stuff. So we try and do interesting stuff with music, but it's not a focus of the game.
And then Starr Mazer, which has shoot 'em up elements, but is primarily it has a lot of shoot 'em up elements, but it is primarily a point and click adventure style game. So those are all like as different. I mean, our games are closest, but they're not.
Yeah.
I mean, though their stories intersect.
They occupy similar thought spaces, but the implementation is pretty different.
Different. And in fact, when we had that little meeting, it was really interesting to see everybody, like, how does your game work? And I described our back end.
We just started laughing.
Yeah. Jake and Roger both just like, so what we do, we're releasing the game in seasons. Like, we're releasing the game in seasons. So the back end is similar in a lot of ways, but the actual game, the resultant game is totally different. And Chris doesn't have a game right now, so I can't really compare them.
Not publicly.
Ooh. Yeah. So somebody has just entered the studio. Who is that? It looks like a wild Austin Montville appears. Austin, take a place in the studio. Hello, everyone. This is Austin Montville, game developer, Starr Mazer.
Austin.
Hi, I'm Chris.
Nice to meet you, Chris.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to see everyone.
Do you guys know each other?
I don't know.
Oh, we have another person too.
Yeah, that's Rekcahdam. Sorry about
Hi,
that.
Rekcahdam.
He's doing Band Saga.
Your giant phone.
Yeah, I listen to music. It's really awesome. I'm really excited for that game.
So yeah, so I guess I answered that question as much as I could. Christopher, does Indie Mega Booth focus solely on video games? If any indie cardboard game that showed promise contacted you, how could it be? Christopher, does Indie Mega Booth do Starr Mazer games? And if any Starr Mazer wanted to be shown, how would Starr Mazer get into contact with you? I'm
Well,
just kidding.
whether you were a Starr Mazer video game or a Starr Mazer board game, absolutely you could be in the Indie Mega Booth. We have a tabletop section that we started doing a year and a half ago, I think. And yeah, so we take a bunch of independent tabletop games and we put them on display, and they have a really good time. And yeah, it's really good. It's really interesting. It's a whole new, well, a year and a half old, but it's very new for us at this point to be doing that and working out what goes on in the tabletop industry, because it's a different beast entirely. I don't know if you know much about them, but yeah. So if you're working on a board game, absolutely get in touch. We open submissions. We'll be opening submissions for games again, I believe, in June.
Don't look at me. I don't know.
You
tell me.
I think that's right.
I think we'll be submitting Starr Mazer by that point.
June or July-ish.
For PAX
probably
Prime.
earlier than that. Yeah, it's probably going to be May or June. And yeah, so if you're working on a tabletop game or anything, you should totally get in touch. If you want more information, you can tweet me at my Twitter handle.
Which is like
underneath
like
my
right
name. It's there.
here-ish.
Yeah, that's right there.
It's at
Lower.
C Floyd Tweets, because that's what I do when I'm on Twitter. Or you can email me, but let's just tweet at me for now.
Cool.
I have
So
enough
they-
emails.
Laser Kid asks, so Idiot Gamer question. By the way, there aren't any dumb questions.
No such thing.
Just dumb people
Except
asking
for
them.
this question. Except this is the stupidest question.
So Idiot Gamer question, if I wanted to start programming a game, what would be the best programming language to start learning? Can I answer this one just
Go for it.
succinctly?
Yeah.
The one that works, the one that you can program in quickly enough.
Yeah.
C#. Yeah, that's the thing, but it doesn't need to be. The medium is not the message in this. If you can do it, you can do it. Use a chisel and a stone, whatever works. It's of no consequence to the player, and it should not be a consequence to the player. When people want to compare tools and libraries and all, it's good when you're in it and you need to know how to do very specific things. Then ask the community. Until then, do the thing that's best. If somebody looks down on you for using Game Maker Pro X, whatever, or
Okay.
yeah, screw them.
Yeah.
Do the thing that works with you. As a filmmaker, I'm often asked, what film camera do you use? And I always answer, what film camera was used for Alien? Nobody knows, nobody cares. It doesn't really matter. Was Alien a good movie? Yes, it was. The film camera didn't matter. Neither does the tool you use. If you're worried about that, not you specifically, not the person who's trying to get into it, but if somebody's worried about that when talking to you, they're not worried about your game, and something's wrong with that. You guys remember FL Studio, Fruity Loops, when Fruity Loops came out?
Yep.
I was shocked to find much later that there are some very famous people, very famous producers who did some of their, and I'm talking about like platinum record kind of stuff on Fruity Loops, which was like, you shit on that when you talk to people, oh, like Fruity Loops. It doesn't matter what you do. If the product is good, then you've done it right. That's the right one. The right one for you is the right one. When I'm asked for film stuff, what camera should I use? The camera that's available. Use your phone. Every year that I can't, literally since the Nokia N7, every year that a film has gone to Sundance made with a camera, it has won an award.
Really?
Like a camera phone. Sorry, film that has gone to Sundance, camera phone.
Got it.
Not just a camera. They're all made with camera. Maybe the camera phone, it has won some form of award.
Huh.
The first one was an innovation award. One of them brought home the grand whatever. There's a film that's coming out just now that was filmed entirely on a camera, like a cell phone.
Yeah.
Use what you got, man. If you can make your thing, make your thing. I'm sorry, I wanted to like harp on that for a minute. Getting caught up in the tools is a great way to obscure your desire or ability to actually make a game.
Yep.
Write it on paper. If you look at how old Nintendo games were made, they were made mostly on paper. The programming came last. They were drawn on grids. They had all the pseudocode was all handwritten. They weren't actually made. The tool they used was a text editor, a customizable text editor. So yeah, it doesn't really matter. Make a game. Everybody, what's the single life skill? This is from Fuzzy. What's a single life skill you wish you had improved upon more at this point in your life?
Good question.
We'll start with Rekcahdam. What's the single life skill you wish you'd improved upon more before getting to where you are now?
Illustration and animation.
Fair. You want to hold all of the reins, it sounds
Yeah,
like.
I mean, I used to draw a lot, and then I stopped. So now I have to rely on other people to do it. But I mean, in some cases, it is great to have someone else do it because it's like a huge load off of me. But at the same time, in the case with Band Saga, before it even got to the Kickstarter point, like I've switched artists like 3 times. So it had 3 different art styles before it even got to the point that it is now. And I'm confident that the artist that I'm with now is reliable, and we're gonna get it done. But before, I don't know whether I didn't know whether artists would finish it or if they were dedicated or not. So I know that I'm dedicated. I know if I could draw that I could do it myself, and I wouldn't have to rely on anybody else. So that's kind of why I would like to be a better artist. But I am drawing a lot more now. I have a little Moleskine, so I'm gonna catch up sooner or later.
Excellent. So Zach, what about you?
Also drawing and animating, like just those are skills that I never really developed. I didn't draw a lot as a kid, and I wish I had, because I'd be maybe decent by now instead of sucking terribly. Also playing an instrument. I really love music too. I'm into music games. Made some music games before, and I wish I could play an instrument better. I've been trying to teach myself how to play the ukulele lately, which has been a lot of fun. And I can actually string chords together that don't sound terrible, so that's kind of cool. But again, like, how much better would I have been if I had started 10 years ago? Probably a lot.
Yeah.
Does that happen with the more the mustache comes out, the more? So I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Before I had the mustache at all, I wore like button-down shirts. I got a little bit of mustache, and I was like, "You need to buy things from Threadless." Like it instantly happened. Like I used to wear like baggier jeans, and now I'm at like boot cut because it's like. But I think if I get farther, I'm gonna get skinny. Skinny jeans are gonna appear, right? And I'm gonna need the ukulele. Right now, I'm super interested in playing like LSDJ. Right? Because I'm only here right now. I got no curls. When I go full curl, I'm gonna be like ukulele and Pats.
The reason
right?
I picked ukulele is because I tried guitar when I was younger. Yeah. It didn't take. Ukulele has 2 less strings than the guitar, so it's simpler.
2 fewer.
2 fewer. Thank you. Wow.
Seattle loves
Seattle
loves correct diction and grammar. That's
2 fewer.
I'm from Detroit, dude.
I saw a piece of graffiti on the street earlier that had a comma in it.
A graffito with a comma. That's neat. So, what about you, Christopher?
So I would probably trade with Zach, because Zach is the most talented programmer that I know.
What?
And I am able to play a little bit of drums, the guitar, bass. It's one of the things I guess I can, with theory of music, I can't sing. I don't think that I can, but I can. But my thing I'm most working on at the moment is getting my head around programming. That's why I shouted C#, because I bought a book on C++, and it is the worst thing I've ever tried to learn. And when I tried C#, it was like easy mode.
You should jump over to assembler.
Yeah. Oh, assembly, yeah.
You got to
Assembly's
understand your
the worst.
foundation.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I actually started using an assembler.
Yeah, doing anything that involved like iterations in C++ was just like, every time I'd have to be like, okay, wait, what is it again? And I'd go back, and then C#, I was like, okay. I tried Python too, and Python's amazing.
Python's
but,
beautiful.
it's not, C# like a little bit better than Python for like control. And it's, anyway.
And it's a garbage collected language.
It is.
You don't have to worry about memory addressing.
Who doesn't love typing collect garbage? And then when you do this bit, collect all the garbage. And then let's go on to the next one. That's all you have to do.
It's better than writing everything you need to write to actually collect the garbage on your own. Like that's better.
But yeah, I would trade with you.
Austin, how about you?
Rekcahdam pretty much took the words out of my mouth. The only difference is I didn't have to go through that Band Saga thing. But as far as that, every day I am frustrated that I cannot communicate my ideas visually. I specifically follow artists like Ilya Kushinov, so I see that art every day in my feeds and realize that I'm not doing that, and I need to get there. Right now, I'm spending a lot of time working on a game, so I don't have as much time for drawing, but every so often, I sneak in drawings, and it's... Is it fan art if you're drawing your own game, or is that just designing? I don't know. So I draw some Starr Mazer stuff sometimes just to have a reason to draw something.
That's fine.
When I have the opportunity to.
Well, I do all of those things, so fuck all you guys. I draw and play music, and I don't. I don't actually do those things. Mine is going to be kind of weird, I think. Understanding what's hip. Like, get... friends. Friending.
That song about getting high that you knew in the elevator.
That song, yeah.
I tend to hyper focus on stuff. Like when I'm making a film, that's the only thing that exists on Earth. I know that some shit's happening in some other countries and some economic stuff's happening in business. But if there's budget in a bank and I'm making a film, for instance, because I've been doing that for a long time, that's the only thing that can, because I'm creating a universe. So the world outside of that universe can mean nothing to me.
Yeah.
And that gets really hard when it comes to like, oh, you're done with the universe and now you need to like sell it to people and talk to people and like know a bunch of people. And I don't. I know a million people I made in a fake universe that I'm trying to show to people and they like it, but I don't know how to interact with that. Games are exactly the same way. I've been lucky. Meeting Zach was, I think, a stroke of like lightning in my world because he kind of just he's been the hub, like the social hub for me.
Yeah.
I've been forced into social situations by Zach into meeting nearly everybody that I'm working with right now in the games industry. And that's not to say I wasn't doing games before. I definitely was. It was just I was hyper focused. Oh, I need to make a library to make dialogue work. I'll talk to you in 2 months.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's it. So I'm missing the like I literally own 17 black hoodies. They're all the same. They have 4 different like flavors. This is the metal one. But they're the same. My T-shirts are all given to me, or one. I just got a new one today from Indie Magazine.
Oh, you did. That's right.
I literally, you have just added. Now this will go into my rotation. I don't know what's hit. I'm looking at Rekcahdam's hat right now, and I'm like, that is unabashedly a cool ass hat. It would never occur to me to like if you were to say draw a cool hat. I have no idea.
I would draw it.
The only thing I've got, and I think that this is to kind of counter it, is I know what I thought was really cool when I was 9. I know what I thought was really cool when I was growing up and before it became like a hyper focused like artist adult thing. And that's why my last movie took place in 1991. This game is a game that is heavily reminiscent of a time where like the child in me could like consume all of this stuff. But there's a point in life where everybody was off going having parties and stuff. Like, what? In high school, I wrote a 400-page dissertation on silting because the Clinton River was getting wider. Everybody was like going and having parties and like having all the fun or whatever. I really wanted physics. Like I was super into like learning stuff. I went to college and I didn't. College is the worst because all I did was programming and Unreal Tournament. That's it. I didn't go to classes. I got hired out of school at an exorbitant, like twice my parents' money combined rate to program stuff because I'd been so hyper focused on programming. But everybody I knew was like, they all had relationships and like nice clothes that there was this point in my life where I could totally afford like any nice clothes I wanted. I just actually didn't know what to buy. And I don't.
It's the most first world film I've ever heard.
No, it is. It totally is. But here's the problem with that. That first world overview, that look, it is totally the worst. Like I could buy it. I'm not in that position anymore. I gave all that up to make like art for a living, which is the second worst first world problem. Oh, I gave it all up for art, and now it sucks. Like, come on, man. Like that's the worst. But I have First off, I have to throw out a caveat because this is important because you just called me on some shit which is pretty dark. I grew up in Detroit and we didn't have any money. I got money when I got out of college. That's when I started getting money. Before then, struggle, man. So I grew up with the straw. It's fine. I have a little bit of that. It's okay. That's why I was
saying that don't be fooled by the rocks that you've got.
Is that a thing? See, I don't even know. Are you making? I have no. Is that a thing? Like, is that a lyric?
That's a Jennifer Lopez lyric.
Oh God.
When she's still Jenny from the Block.
Is that Electra?
I only know pop music from
No,
1994.
Jennifer Lawrence, or not Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer
Jennifer
Lopez.
Garner. Jennifer Garner was
Jennifer
Electra.
Garner is Electra. Gardner.
Yeah. Garner.
Person.
Garner.
Garner.
Lopez.
Yeah. Anyway.
Famously said, "Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got.
Yeah.
I'm still Jenny from the Block."
I would go with no rocks if you wanted to project the Jenny from the Block thing. I would sans rocks. I have hoodies. I have 17. That's all I wear.
Don't be fooled by my 17 hoodies.
Yeah.
I had it off when I was younger.
That's all I own. Is the same 70s hoodie. I bought them all on a sale, like one sale. that Threadless had like 2 years ago. I had a single sale, and I was like, "Oh, this looks out. I could if I bought these over the year, they would cost X.
Yeah.
I can buy this now and not
Sure.
have to worry about clothes for the
That's a
next."
good idea.
So there's that. Anyway, so I think that a skill would be like being a normal human,
You are
Like-
a normal human.
wearing the human mask more often. I don't.
You're a
have
special
that.
human.
AU24.
Oh.
What do you say?
What
Say-
was that? What happened?
You're a special
Yeah,
human.
you're special, man. Don't take that away from yourself. Be special.
Yeah,
Agreed.
that's super easy to say when you have such a cool hat.
It says yo on it.
No.
I didn't have this hat forever.
More questions. Rec. Oh.
Don't
be fooled by the hat that I got.
Exactly.
I'm still Rekcahdam from Tokyo. So Rekcahdam, how has it been like working with other musical artists and sprite artist Paul Robertson? Asks the Lost Hamster.
Yeah, I saw that question. First of all, I haven't worked with Paul Robertson ever, so I don't.
So it's been
Yeah.
pretty shitty. Your work relationship with him has
No,
been
one,
stunted.
no one's asking if you worked with him. It's what is it like working?
Yeah,
with
what is it like? What have you heard? Have you read any Gama Sutra articles? Or?
I'm thinking of hiring Paul Robertson. What do you imagine it would be like to work
I would
with
hope
this
it's
guy?
pretty awesome working with Paul.
Actually, relevant to this, I was checking through some of the articles that had been written about Starr Mazer recently. We were checking out like all the press we had, and there was an article written in some language. It was not English. I don't know what it is, but I automatically Google Translate because I was reading through it and I found Starr Mazer and it was near Paul Robertson. And the article says that Paul Robertson, who did work on Mercenary Kings and soon Starr Mazer. So they just completely
Yeah. You just
put
had
him in.
wrong
Yeah,
information.
if you put any pixels, Paul Robertson.
Paul
You know what
Robertson
it
was
is? I don't-
yeah, he's the
it's
one who
actually
did
a
it. He's-
compliment, though.
Yeah.
Who is Paul Robertson?
He's a Pixar artist.
Yeah.
A very,
Scott
very
Pilgrim
famous.
video game did all the art for that. Well, no, sorry, not all the art for that. He did a significant amount of the art for that.
Okay, that was made by Tribute, right?
Yes, tribute
I
works.
think it's
still on.
actually a compliment though when people say that because
Oh,
like I'm not hating on any other pixel art games, but there's very few that have have character to it, So when people saw my game, they instantly thought that Paul Robertson did it. And I was like, no, he didn't do it.
Well, we're in a small club right now of people who are making games that other people think are being made with the aid of Paul Robertson's sprites.
So
We made a connection.
Jim asks, Starr Mazer, what do you think of The Fall and Lone Survivor?
I hope he means The Fall, the murder mystery set in Belfast, Northern Ireland, starring Gillian Anderson, because that is really good. And Lynn Anderson, our Lone Survivor, the survival horror game made by Jasper Byrne, who does the soundtrack for Hotline Miami too. But I think he's probably talking about films. And I don't know.
No, I think actually The Fall is in
Fall
reference to the Fall made by Over the Moon Studios,
Yeah.
which
Okay.
recently came out on Wii U.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I played it briefly at Indiecade and then again at some event here in Seattle. And I think the art in The Fall is incredible. I hate so contrary to what I just said, I hate the running animation. It looks like puppety. He runs like this and his legs are like, they move like independently and it looks like a marionette when he runs. But the art style is incredible. I played 4.5 minutes of it, so it looks good, looks cool. The people who run it are cool. It's a husband and wife team, I believe, right? Or
Yeah.
partners.
Yeah.
They
John
look,
and Danielle, they're really nice.
they're really nice people. They seem really cool. I know that at the time, John, is it?
Yeah.
He was the most frazzled. Like he was when I met him personally. He was in it. Like he was. You see it. Developers will get there where it's like, fuck, I'm in it. Like I know I'm standing in front of you, but I'm over here in the game right now, bro. So that was pretty. The fall looks cool. I've never played Lone Survivor.
I actually want to jump back because we did the bit about Paul Robertson, but I actually didn't hear Rekcahdam talk about the musicians he's worked with.
Yeah, let's go.
I want to hear about
Yeah, so all the musicians that I've worked with have been awesome, pretty much. I know you guys know Disaster Piece, who wrote the music for Fez.
Yeah.
I used to like tour with him and play drums for him.
Oh, sweet.
That's pretty sweet.
So he's kind of the reason that like I've kind of been like piggybacking off of his fame a little bit.
Whatever works.
And I don't know. I've been working. I know Vert personally. I know C418. I know a lot of cool artists and musicians, and it's been awesome. Like just chilling with them and working with all of those guys. Yeah. Oh, Laura Shigihara. I worked with her a lot actually. I'm really close with her. She's awesome.
Yeah, I was seeing on the game that we're working on, Band Story. The soundtrack has like a bunch of like other people contributing to it. So like, was that just because like you're friends with all these people and like you just wanted to work with them, or was it like was it a conscious decision to like bring them on board because of like their fan bases, or they would bring something that you didn't necessarily have? Like why are they on the soundtrack?
It's kind of both actually, because it's funny. It's like on the one hand you might think that I'm like friends with all of these people because they have like huge fan bases, but what happened was, again, I was drumming for Disaster Piece for like maybe like 2.5 years or however many years it was, and because he was playing like somewhat high profile video game shows or whatever, I got to meet all these somewhat high profile video game composers, and I just became like friends with all of them, and then I was it was just like a no-brainer to be like, hey, you want to do some work on my soundtrack? And they were like, of course, because I guess they like my music too. So it was really easy to just like get everybody to hop on the soundtrack and do what they do. So
I've noticed that a lot, where it's like it's incredibly remarkable how easy it is to just like, if you just ask someone, like they'll probably like help out or contribute in some way. Like it seems like, oh man, like that person's like this or like really skilled person, or like they might be busy with a million things, but you just like reach out and like the worst thing that's gonna happen is like, oh, like sorry I'm too busy, or like no, it's not my style. Like, but most of the time they'll try to help in some way.
A great scenario. Like, hey, Disaster Piece, would you like to work on Starr Mazer? No, sorry, I'm too busy. That's that simple. That's all it takes.
Oh, I got a story to tell, which this is the
Tell the story. When hear the story.
First public. I don't know. This is I've ever told this story to the public, which I don't know if I should tell it, but I'm gonna tell it anyway.
You're leaking it.
Oh yeah,
It's all
it's all about leaks.
I was actually like, I guess, auditioning to do the music for Hyperlight Drifter, and I had done like, I was working on like several revisions of this one song that Alex wanted me to make, and he kept saying like, can you just make this change? Like, he kept making me make like a million changes, and then eventually like I'm actually writing the music for Ghost Song. I don't know if you know about that Kickstarter, but I had to like do some work on Ghost Song, and I was like, hey man, I can't really do this anymore because I've done like 35 revisions of this song and you're still not like happy with it. I want to work on it because it looks awesome, but I can't do it right now for like absolutely no money. So I kind of left him alone, and then he hit me up because he knew that I was the drummer for Disaster Piece. He was like, hey, can you hook me up with Disaster Piece? And I was like, Okay, sure, but I think he's busy. As soon as I talked to Disaster Beast and showed him like the preview video, he was like, "Oh, I want to work on this." So, if it weren't for me talking to Disaster Beast, he wouldn't have been working on that game. So
it's effectively your fault that he's not working on Starr Mazer.
probably.
Thank you very much, Rekcahdam.
So next time we want to work with Disaster Beast, we gotta ask
Rekcahdam
Rekcahdam
first.
first.
And then give him like 35 revisions. Be like, no, this is shit. I need better drums. I thought you were a drummer. This is crap. It'd be great if the drums were better. Just keep saying
I
that
have
over and over.
I have a conspiracy theory that he never wanted me in the first place, and he was just like, "Man, I really want Disaster Beast to do it, but I'm just gonna like string Roger along for like 35 revisions until he gives up."
Oh no!
Oh,
That's the
Nah,
worst.
but nah, he
Just like waiting
He's a
for
really
that
cool
reply,
dude.
so he keeps being like, "Will you change this a little bit? Change this
Yeah.
a little bit." Maybe Disaster Beast is going to respond to me.
Fuzzy asked, Don, with your interest in physics, would you ever be interested in going up to D-Wave and checking out the quantum computers? Of course I would. That's the thing. That's a yes or no question. Those are the worst questions for these.
What's D-Wave?
I have no idea, but it sounds like they have quantum computers. I'd like to go check them out.
All right.
Ayub24 asks, what kind of game is Starr Mazer like in genre and style? Christopher, that's a good question for you to answer, sir. What type of game is Starr Mazer like in genre and style? The thing is, Ayub24 asked like 4 times now what actually is Starr Mazer.
So-
This is going to suck because you're going to like...
No, it's fine. It's like an FPS.
Oh, God!
It's got RPG elements. If you've played a game like Unreal Tournament or Skyrim, it's a lot like that. But it's set in space, right?
I think so.
There's no
Yeah,
gravity.
I mean, the space part totally works.
You got one thing.
You got the space.
There's no
Space-
gravity,
Oh, God.
and it's a first-person game or something.
Yeah.
Sounds
no, you
good.
got it.
Or something.
This episode of Starr Mazer TV brought to you by Christopher Floyd, not knowing what Starr Mazer is. The choice of the right generation.
I know what it is, but it's more entertaining to think of it as to reimagine it, really.
Yeah.
It's time to reimagine stuff.
Well, we're hoping that from the point of the release of Starr Mazer, all games will just be like reimagined Starr Mazer.
Yeah.
Like Starr Mazer.
Well, there'll be Starr Mazer
remixes.
likes.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah,
But
so
all
Mazer-like,
games will be.
if you will.
Mazer-like.
Yeah.
Do you aspire to be to become something like? So we're like, oh, we're making a game. It's like Starr Mazer.
Absolutely.
Mazer-like.
Yeah, you'd like that.
Mazer-like.
Like I am actually
wouldn't wanna do
serious.
Yeah.
So
We're
like,
actually doing something unique. So let's let Austin answer the question and spin it into your
Okay,
Mazer-like
all right,
scenario.
yeah.
So AM24 is exactly what we're actually doing.
yeah. So if you were to distill the game down into like right now, what is it most like? It is most like point and click adventures and shmups or horizontal scrolling shoot 'em ups. The reason is because when you fly in your Star Wolf, you are scrolling horizontally and firing at waves of enemies. So the transportation method in the game is very much like shmups, and we're taking a lot of inspiration from that. As far as the narrative aspect, I'm excited for S-Man's comment. As far as the narrative aspect of it, it takes a lot of cues from point-and-click adventure games where you're navigating a character around in a space, having conversations with them. You have an inventory, and you
But
can
not space.
use and look.
Like a space.
Well,
like
space
a bar
is.
or a
Yeah.
station.
Not
or a
just
planet.
no gravity
Not
space.
just space.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying it's set in spaces.
Yes. One of which is space.
Yeah.
But
It's
there
set
are
in
other
places in which there's objects and there's
Yeah.
room between the
Yeah.
objects.
Yeah. That's what I meant
Cool.
by space, as in physical. Like this is
Yeah.
a space. You know.
It's not a
That's-
game where everything's beside everything else.
No.
But you leave inside yourself while playing it.
But yeah, so one of the things that I'm really interested in is that like we use that just to like get you on board because it's like there's peanut butter and chocolate. I love peanut butter and chocolate, but actually we're giving you this thing that like doesn't really have a term for you, and it's way better than peanut butter or chocolate. So by describing the game as those two things, we can get you on board because you're familiar with it, and frankly, like in business scenario, whatnot, like people buy what's familiar to them. So when you see something that's completely alien, you're like, oh, I don't know if I like that. But if we can get you on the
Sure.
same board, so that's the intro to it. But that's
And that's why that's how in a lot of ways it's like a first person.
Exactly. Yeah, you know,
like
it's skirting those genres. Actually, I was talking with a friend the other day, my buddy Clifton, who actually was pointing out how Starr Mazer is like 4 or 5 genres because he saw the portal open up with the tentacle come in, and he thought that was like an RPG boss fight. And he saw the sliding part, like the when Brick uses the cable to jump onto the ship, and he thought that was like a platformer. So he saw the video and thought it was this combination of all these genres, plus like the guts and bucks like RPG like system, right? But it's very interesting because basically we don't really have the term for it. Kind of like how Telltale, now they've created a series of games that all use the same method, the same style, and they're kind of like adventure games, but there's a different feel to them. They make different choices. They have different core pillars of their design and what the you actually you walk around a little bit, but mostly you just you just do questions, you just answer questions and whatnot.
Is there any crafting in Starr Mazer?
No, there is no crafting.
There's item combination.
Yeah,
but it's very specific and not.
They're you're interacting with.
It's actually a lot.
Can I interject here for a sec?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much like there's a big space that you travel between.
Sure.
You know, there's
it's set in a space.
Yeah, it's set in a space.
It's a video game.
Yes.
There's items.
Mm-hmm. There
are enemies.
There are enemies. There's voices in it. So you will hear actual.
It's like a Skyrim clone.
It's pretty much Starr Mazer is a Skyrim-like is the easiest way to define it.
But it's not. It's not something like that. I'm afraid that we've driven this guy away with.
So actually, the real answer is that Starr Mazer is going to be taking elements from these, but really the core of it is this new narrative experience that people have attempted. Has gotten really close to Shadow of Mordor, but no one's really nailed it this way. And we feel like we have the systems finally built because of the years of design that Don did before this to actually be able to implement the system. And so when this comes out, it won't have a genre for a little while until a bunch of people start hopping on this idea, using some of the elements from it. And I'm interested in that genre that Starr Mazer is going to be. And that's I'm excited about.
Can I coin the genre name already?
Yeah, do it. What is it?
Neo Adventure Games.
Neo Adventure Game. I like the new wave feel to it.
It's missing Starr Mazer or Mazer in any way.
It's got to have your name in it.
Based on the life of Neo.
Like roguelike is an entire genre that's been
Mazervania.
on for 30 years.
Mazervania. I don't know.
Mazervania.
No Vania.
Mazervania sans Vania. Okay, Jim wants to know, what about 3D TV support in Starr Mazer? If we hit our 3DS goal, we'll work on 3D stereo stuff, which answers another question. Jim says, if there's no 3DS port, will there be? No, probably not. Sorry. We want to make the game we want to make. If we can afford to put it on the consoles, we can put it on, or the handhelds, we can put it on. We'll do that. And that 3D will be considered then, but not until then. That's a good reason to smash that stretch goal. Austin, I saw that you wrote on, or what you wrote on Gama Sutra concerning your pipelines and stuff, coding versus arts. It was really cool. What's your biggest fear with Starr Mazer? The way I saw it, you're all really close to each other and not limited in the creative side. But is there anything that can worry you? What would it be? We are very close to one another. Mm-hmm. And not limited. We're infinite in creativity.
There are no limits.
None limits. None the limits.
Whoa,
but hi Triton. To actually, I'll be legit honest about it. The fear that I have is that this idea still has not, it's not been proven. The OMG, we know how to do it. We have the systems in place, and we are experimenting with it right now. But I can't just go up to someone else and be like, they've done it before. The closest is Shadow of Mordor, so we're doing something that hasn't been done before. My fear is that it takes more than a year before that system feels where we want it to be. We are shipping something on April 2016, and it needs to feel great, but we've said that we're going to give a 10 to 12 hour experience on that date. My concern is not being able to deliver what we envision on that time, so we've done a lot of groundwork to satisfy that, which is why I'm feeling comfortable about talking about it. We've really, every time we discuss it, it gets more and more solidified. Actually, just the other day, I had this revelation that Don had the whole time, but it was realizing how well the game mechanics, the physical game mechanics of the OMG support the entire narrative of the game. And it's like, it's that final piece of the puzzle when a game actually feels like it was designed as opposed to a collection of cool ideas. So I'm very confident in it. We've laid down the work that we can achieve that, but until I physically play it myself, it will always be a concern in the back of my mind. It's like, you need to work harder, you need to work more, you need to finish this. And that will be driving me through a large portion of the development. So it's a little scary, but it's really exciting. It's really motivating.
Excellent. Cosmic Afro says, a comment. It's wonderful to see your guys' enthusiasm. Thank you. It's wonderful to have it. We think we have it because Starr Mazer seems like an awesome thing. So yeah, excites. We are the very excites. Lincoln 6 Vacano. We did this before. It's supposed to be Volcano, I think, but there's no. He put the L in Lincoln, which is great. But Lincoln 6 Vacano. Lincoln's 9.
Lincoln's 9 Volcano.
Lincoln's 9 Vacano. What isn't V also a
Oh shit, maybe it's
Lincoln's 95 Cano? C is 100, right? C is 100. V is 5.
Yeah, but you can't have 9-5. It's
But you can have 100 minus 5 minus 9. This is you. Wow.
It's Vacano. It's not Volcano. It's Vacano.
Do you say
It's Vacano, okay.
or
Vacano?
Vacano or Vacano? We need it worked out. Anyway, Lincoln 6 Vacano. What is the feel of the game? Is it a LucasArts adventure game with shmup parts or R-Type with conversation? Still not clear about that. It looks amazing though. Austin.
The feel of Starr Mazer is the feel of being.
What is so funny?
I'm just reading the next comment.
Okay, all right.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
Sorry.
I was like, am I?
You guys
Am
have
I?
your own little club.
You're fine.
I'm
We're all
getting
one
trolled
club.
here, right? So the feel of Starr Mazer is the feel of like it's being Han Solo, like that. I think that's the closest thing that I can relate it to. Like you're gonna be at a bar in Mos Eisley, and then some pricks are gonna come up to you, and you're gonna decide to heckle them, and then eventually go on this journey, and then this huge thing opens up, right? You're gonna be talking with characters. You're gonna find love. You're gonna be a badass space pilot. You're gonna have to negotiate with people. You're gonna have to shoot people. That's the feeling of the game. Any game mechanics that support you feeling like that character, the character that can do anything, the character that's a bit overconfident, the character that actually has to learn in a story, those are the experiences that you're going to have in Starr Mazer.
Yeah, saying is it gonna be like R-Type versus whatever, or gonna be like a LucasArts game? It's not gonna be clear. You're not gonna be clear till you play it. That's very important to us. So we don't want to just have two genres of a game stapled together. That's Starr Mazer isn't. Okay, you can take two genres and slam them together. It's been done before, in fact, specifically with point-click adventure and shmup. It sucked because it was two game types just kind of slammed together. I don't know. Somebody showed to us, and we went to the page, and there's RPG. We know about those. But there's a point-click adventure shmup where it was two shows ago. They popped up the game. We after the show, we're like, oh my god, we went and looked at it. And it's exactly what you think. It's like, go click on the thing, loading ship section, and then loading. That's exactly not what we're doing. Starr Mazer isn't the shmup and the point and click. Starr Mazer specifically is the combination of those things. Starr Mazer is the core. Those other things support that core. And like Austin said, that core is feeling like a cool space pilot who has to learn to grow. Yeah. Jim says, so 3D will with 3DS only, no 3D option in PS4, X1 versions. Jim, I'm going to say it plainly. We will not explore 3D until we get 3DS stretch goal. It's just not on the plan right now. It's just the reason that stretch goal is so high is A, we need to rewrite the entire game, and B, we need to take into consideration 3 dimensions. We want to take that into consideration a lot, so let's get to that stretch goal, but until we get there, we're not going to consider it. Triptide says, Austin, listening to you, it's like all the fury of Dawn! The one getting out all the time. What does that mean, getting out all the time? Whatever, it's fury! But encapsulated and restrained in the limit of your happy smile of excitement.
Thank you, Triptide. That's so nice.
Emoticon face.
Also, Pyro Insane has been shouting about Starr Mazer to all of Pyro Insane's friends, so thank you very much for that.
You're saying his name wrong.
Pyro Insane?
Pyro Insane!
Oh, sorry.
Every time. Every single time. Yeah. Master Stealth says, have you guys seen Space Dandy? Was there any inspiration drawn from it? I'm 35 years old. I've never seen Space Dandy. No inspiration was gotten from Space Dandy. Unfortunately, there maybe should have been, because everybody's like, it's like Space Dandy, it's Space Dandy, right? And I'm like, I don't know, would it make it better if I said yes? But then I'd be lying, and I don't want to lie to you. So no, I didn't know. What I do plan on though is I have a list of things I want to check out once we're like deep into development or finished with the game. Space Dandy is one of them. Cowboy Bebop, which I've never seen, is also one of them. Apparently these are really cool things. I want to check them out, but I don't want to check them out before we build the thing because what I don't want to do is be influenced by that and then be like, oh, you know what I'd like to do. Yeah.
We haven't got there yet.
Yeah, we haven't got. I don't know what you're talking about.
See, so there's this thing that happens where I get it now. I'm part of the crew now. They'll laugh randomly. Chris and Zach will laugh randomly. It's because of the message that just popped up on the Twitch stream. But it always happens at inappropriate times, so it makes whoever's talking feel really self-conscious.
Yeah, it's super bad.
It's the worst.
I just think it's really funny that you haven't seen Cowboy Bebop.
That's really.
I've
funny?
only seen like the first 2 episodes.
Why is it
I
funny?
haven't
Is
seen
it? Are you you're joking because
I
of that?
laughed
Okay.
out loud.
So,
Well done,
Keppa
everyone,
Raggett says
guys.
anime is not for children, Don. Or, yeah, no, I get it. I get that, Keppa. But I know that Space Dandy is recent, and I just haven't. I have been caught up in other things. Some of them having to do with Rekcahdam games. So maybe we should not like call me out on that.
Hey, Kappa, what's the best anime?
Oh, I'm excited for Keppa's answer.
There's like there's you Twitch. There's a delay. So we're gonna like talk about other
so
stuff.
we'll go to other
You will
things.
get- we will wait.
Don, I think I misunderstood it, but I think you talked about a gal alone of this species that doesn't want to hurt planets and stuff when going on them. Oh, the gal, but still because of war. Could you talk? Okay, so the gal isn't a gal. The gal is an alien species. If you go to our Kickstarter page, you'll see it's G''ELL because science fiction, bra apostrophes. Woo! Alien languages. The gal are a species of alien that a million years ago tried to take over a planet, but not really. Got into a big war, started all kinds of stuff, blah, 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 history. You're going to buy a game that will explain all of it. But yeah, it's the gal, not a gal. So we actually talked about this a great deal on I think our last show. So check that out on YouTube. There's a lot of talking on there. Jackalope Dave says, I don't think it's like Space Dandy. There's thematic similarities that mean I think fans of it may enjoy Starr Mazer's story and feel. That's great, Jackalope Dave. If I can have people can love Space Dandy and love our stuff and not necessarily think either is humping off the other, that'd be really great. Lincoln,
Does anyone actually know what Space Dandy is?
I do.
It's an anime by the same people who made the other one.
Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy
Cowboy Bebop.
Bebop. It's apparently...
Rekcahdam seems to know all about
Rekcahdam,
Space
tell us
Dandy.
all about it.
Yeah, Space Dandy and Cowboy Bebop were pretty much made, or not made by the same people, but like the same, I guess, director and writer headed up the project.
Okay,
So,
gotcha.
yeah. But
And from what I understand, that was also the director that did Simmer
yeah,
and
yeah.
Blue. And all of them share this one thing that is unique in anime, and that it's episodic as opposed to like a serial, and that
Okay.
you can watch. Most of the episodes aren't like directly linked to each other. It's not a cliffhanger and then the next one starts.
syndicated?
They're individual episodes, which is rare in anime.
I don't think that's that rare, but it might be because I watch too many anime. but I think what makes it really different is that they use weird music that most anime don't use, and they use like weird, like more Western vibes than anime. Like, for example, Cowboy Bebop had like really crazy neo jazz stuff going on, and like
It has the absolute best intro sequence of any
anime
television
ever.
show I've ever
and,
seen.
and
So
like
good.
That composer is super cool
Yoko Kanno.
composer.
the characters are like really westernized, and it doesn't really like the art. You can tell the art is anime. It doesn't feel like an anime. So
Which I think that's a really interesting point, because maybe that's why people are finding similarities to it, because your inspirations are those Japanese-made Western cartoons.
Yeah, no, that's totally
And this
true.
is a Japanese-made Western-styled
Got it.
cartoon.
Okay, so
that's probably why they're all of the same essence,
Yeah,
right?
okay, so my actual inspiration for Starr Mazer, if you want to look visually or thematically, is like Silverhawks, and like Thundercats, and like these old shows that
Sure.
were American...
Saturday morning things.
Yeah, but they were written or at least commissioned by American companies or Western companies, but then like the work was sent to Japan. So Japan would do their anime style thing. Even the 70s anime was totally distinct visually.
Yeah.
But all the way through the 70s, 80s, 90s. But the Western companies would say, no, we need it to look more like white. We need like I mean, small eyes, like big barrel-chested guys, and they're all white dudes all the time, and like the women have to have thighs that go up to their like shoulder blades. There's this crazy like westernized version of what it's supposed to look like, and so you had, dude. By the way, Citizen Cybertron just threw out Tallyhawk. Thank you. Thank you.
A connection was made here.
We're the same human. Tallyhawk. Anyway, so I think that was a westernization of anime, just by default. You had all these anime producers producing westernized stuff, but it always be look. If you want to see the most anime intro of western thing, go look at G.I. Joe the movie. The intro to that is used to. I've never seen the intro, so I can't argue directly, but I will say objectively though. Objectively, the best. I got that from Rami, by the way. He wins all arguments by just saying, but objectively, and then he says his opinion. It's perfect. But objectively, though, the best intro ever was the G.I. Joe, the movie intro. Okay. It's 100% pure anime. It's just all the characters are like westernized looking dudes, but all the shots and the angles and the circle explosions and all that. It's like pure anime. If you put like Evangelion in there, you would just totally fit. Sure. We know. They just went crazy, and it's so beautiful. So yeah, I guess I didn't know because when I was growing up, this might sound really weird for anybody under like 35, but when I was growing up, the idea that Japanese culture was could be a positive influence at all on Western culture was completely ignored. It was shat on. The idea that like that's some weird Japanese people crap like that. And then when I got to be like 13, 14, and Akira, somebody pointed out Akira, I got a VHS tape that my mom, who's incredible, she bought me that Turbo Duo. My mom, I come home from school one day, and there's just a VHS tape on my pillow on my bed. I'm 13. It's just Akira, and I'm like, it was a sub as well. I'm 13. I put it in. They're speaking Japanese. I'm from Detroit. This is not a real thing. I don't know what's happening. Apparently, she had friends at work, and they were like, "Oh, the hottest shit is gonna be this." She put this on. I put it in. It never left the fucking 13-inch VH. It just played it over and over and over and over. I was yeah. So at that point, I started to get into sort of anime stuff. But I was already in my early teens. I didn't grow up with it. I grew up with this sort of westernized stuff. That's why the Star Wolf looks like an F-16. Kind of badassed out, but it definitely looks like an old, like, I used to have a fucking poster of an F-16 on my, I didn't even like planes, they're just the coolest looking thing, right? Sure. So yeah.
So there are comments about my clothes. I wanted to represent the anime conversation going on, because I'm wearing my Evangelion shirt. Right. This is like one of the oldest shirts I own. It's old. Oh man, She's Pizza's mom just pledged.
Oh,
that's
my
amazing.
God. We all have to clap for this.
Pizza Mom. Thank you.
That's incredible. Thank you. That's really great. Do you know what level?
You take off your shirt tier.
Yeah, apparently that was the tier.
So yeah, there's a bunch of talking about anime. That's really cool. Jackalope Dave, She's Pizza. This is complicated. Oh, man. She's Pizza's mom is She's Pizza. It's a weird, complicated in-game story thing. But represented in our universe, She's Pizza, I'm going to leak again. The essence of pizza actually takes over a human being. And that human being has a mom. So we kind of, between us, we kind of pretend. Mm-hmm. We tell Vanessa that She's Pizza showed up because she can't remember being She's Pizza, because at those moments she's just a vessel for pizza, which we all are at some point, right? A vessel for pizza.
Is this the final state for all of us? Is this
pizza?
What happens when you die?
Only select people. I'm sorry. No, we all get to we'll eventually become pizza. We become dirt, which nourishes plants, which then eventually, then it's pizza. So you guys, you're 50% of the screen. So when you like secretly talk to each other, you're like 50% of the screen is having an inside.
We're having a secret chat about crunchy pretzels.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the gag.
She's
Pizza says, "What are you saying?" She's Pizza. I'm saying that you are everyone. You know how it goes.
She's Pizza disagrees.
Cheese Pizza went back in time and fell in love and had a kid that grew up to be Cheese Pizza. That's pretty much how it happened.
I was thinking lies.
I say that you have very good commenters.
Yeah.
All of your chat are pretty great bunch of lads.
Yeah, it's
They're
true.
amazing.
Glasses.
We got to hang out when we hung out with Vaziski, which was awesome.
He's coming back on Friday for the 24-hour Super Show.
24-hour Super Show. Oh, man.
Remember, guys, we're having on Friday. We're having a 24-hour Super Show. It's gonna be incredible.
You're crazy.
We're gonna have a pizza party. We're gonna have live bands playing. It's true, man. It's gonna be the best. And some of them are super famous. Some of them are. I mean, all of them are from our soundtrack. None of them are Manami Matsumai. Don't get your hopes up. We're not gonna have her like.
Come flyer from Japan.
Yeah,
Sorry, bros.
we are gonna have a bunch of famous folk doing some cool stuff. We're gonna do everything we can. We're gonna have all kinds of guests popping by. The very first backer of Starr Mazer is gonna show up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's gonna sit down and have a conversation with us.
I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. Actually, I didn't know he was. I know him as one guy, and then his name is not that guy, and then I was told later that guy was that guy. And
Gotcha.
I've hung out with the guy like twice since, and I didn't know. And he's like, the whole time I'm sitting this far away from the guy who like, I'm the first to support your dreams.
Uh-huh.
I had no idea. I'm
That's
just
cool.
like, how you do? So I really shouldn't have called him an asshole those 2 times. I super didn't. I'm joking.
That's cool.
Don, does pledging on Kickstarter generally pick up near the end? This was my first pledge. Still new to this. Yes, there's what they call the bathtub effect, which I'm sure. Christopher, can you speak to this? Because I didn't know until I've been told by people.
I call it the horseshoe,
The horseshoe.
but bathtub, anything that has a U shape.
Explain the Kickstarter horseshoe to us.
Yeah,
Kickstarter.
because I'm actually fucking terrified right now.
They call it the horseshoe of money. So no matter, you can make a Kickstarter of, is it 30, 45, or 60 days at this point?
Yeah, it's 30 is what we did, but yeah, I think you can choose 30, 45, 60. It used to be you could pick any number of days, so I changed it.
But it actually, so they add that as sort of like, I think it's actually more for Kickstarter side of things to sort of A/B test how funding moves. But regardless of when you pick your time, and assuming you're not, let's say some kind of company that's going to hit everything in 24 hours,
Yeah.
outliers like that, most people tend to launch, and in the first, I think it's 24 to 72 hours, they will hit like this bit, and then it just goes, woo, and then it plateaus for a while, and then it will go whoop at the end. Because at the end, at the start, people go, whoa, that's cool, I want to back it. And then in the midpoint, people are like, oh, I don't know if it's going to hit it. And then at the end, people are like, oh, it's not going to hit it. And then they back it. So it's a weird pattern people have. You either have the early adopters or the late adopters. So.
I also know that there's the gag where, like, most of the press will hit it on the first couple days and say, oh my God, if it looks good.
Yeah.
I know we got $35,000 in the first 2 days.
Yeah.
That was pretty sweet. But it's dropped to like. No, granted, I'm in no way complaining. When I say drop to, I am not.
It's amazing every day.
Every day is incredible because not just because we're getting any money, but because the money we're getting is taller than most people's money daily through the whole campaign. So we're pretty proud and happy about that. But it did drop significantly.
It always will.
We weren't going to maintain a $35,000 thing, but I do know that. So there's that. The press hit in the beginning, and at the very end, everybody who's clicked, watched or saved this one or like the star, they get notified 48 hours before it's over. So there's a lot of people who've just completely.
And it kicks it back up.
Now, granted, I'm gonna toot horns a little, but it seems they'd have to turned their internet off at this point to not see something about Starr Mazer.
Sure.
But everybody who kind of forgotten about it will be informed.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious, like, if there's a big hit in the beginning and a big hit at the end, why aren't Kickstarters just like 6 days?
Well, so that's the big question, right? I think 30 days, this might be getting a little bit too weird and high level, but in terms of neuroscience, 30 days is a very interesting amount of time for your brain. So 30 days is like the amount of time it takes for you to build a habit. So if you run something over 30 days, the idea is that by the end of it, it's like always in your mind. So
also, I
so
found
one might think that you see it on day one, and then you're like, huh. And then at the end of the month, you're like, oh yeah. And it's like more familiar, even though it's only like 30 days old.
We've worked a lot to get market saturation, press and message boards and stuff to know what it is. And instead of have you heard of Starr Mazer, the conversation is more like Starr Mazer is doing this now. We moved Starr Mazer away from an unknown concept to a concept people understand. And that takes time. It took 3 weeks before some news sites spoke about us not as this weird new thing that nobody's heard of.
Yeah.
It's no longer check out Starr Mazer. It's all Starr Mazer is working with Shovel Knight, or Starr Mazer is working with Galaxy, which will be next week or whatever. Cosmic Afro. I've supported the Kickstarter immediately as soon as I heard about it. I took one of the early bird spots. Yay, good for you.
Thank you, Cosmic
Shoot 'em
Afro.
and adventure games are among my favorite types. I have a question. Are the shooting sections more gradius or more R-type? So he's laughing because we get this. There's a constant, like, just scroll back. You'll see. There's Starr Mazer. I hate to say that, but Gradius didn't have a Gradius before Gradius, right? It was just Gradius.
Yep.
We're doing our own thing. It's going to integrate point-and-click tropes, so you're going to be able to, like, question things and use items and stuff. It's also going to have a unique shifting system. So it's going to be Starr Mazer. In 2 years, you'll be saying, it's going to be...
Is New Game X more Starr Mazer or more Gradius?
More Gradius, yeah. That's kind of a thing. Triptide says, Don, you need to get a Cash and California Games that day. We will. Don't worry.
Oh man, the foot bag.
So we're scrolling. What's going on, bro? I'm trying to see what's
We're
happening.
loading up more questions.
Yeah.
There's some webcam scratching going on.
Yeah, this guy says it's fine. I'm getting scratching. It's crackling here.
We got
and
some
there.
crackles, so
Are the crackles
Cosmo's
coming?
gonna fix it up.
Are the crackles coming from us, or are they coming from Rekcahdam?
It's probably us. There's a thing that we know how to. We've encountered crackles in the past.
Sweet.
Is
There's
it Zach?
some
Is
technical-
it Zach eating all
it
these
might be
crackly
me eating them
snacks?
pretzels.
Wait, were you just like?
What is
that
crunchy
crackling?
pretzels?
All right, we'll do a test. We'll see if it
That
goes
might be
away,
it.
and then when you eat one, like deliberately eat one into
Yeah,
the camera,
we'll
and we'll
do
see
a-
if the crackles come back.
Yeah. By the way, I noticed I got Oh, Kev was eating crab.
Oh no, I gotta eat crab. I'll be right back.
I'm lying.
That's the most
I love
amazing
crab.
statement I've read.
Crab is my single favorite food.
But
That's the worst.
you
So
just gotta go eat crab right now.
Austin has added to the fact that I have the boringest socks on the show. It was
Someone
pointed out
brought
earlier.
that up earlier.
Yeah, I was
They were
pointing
like,
out.
yeah.
Somebody pointed out that I have the. I always wear like the 17 hoodies thing.
Hmm.
I always wear the same socks, not the same pair, but I only have one. I have one cut of jean. I have the t-shirts, like I said, I'm normally getting for free. This one I got Midnight City. That was handed to me.
Nice.
I just got handed to me.
Now old school.
Now
All right,
it's cool. It's-
Dom, we're gonna do a thing.
Yeah.
Like next time, the next like planned shot, like get clothes time for you.
Yeah.
Take me with you.
Okay.
We're gonna go. I'm gonna introduce you to some styles. We're gonna get you.
There's
we're
a
gonna
major
get you,
problem with this.
What? You don't have that time, do you?
Endomorph, exomorph. There's a you fucking you go to a store.
Doesn't matter.
You
There are
motherfuckers
stores.
have no
there,
problem.
There
You
are
go to-
stores that you can go to.
You've never
No-
walked into a
no
store and
problem.
had the girl
Buy
look at
clothes.
you and just go, honey.
No,
Like, that's not a thing you've
that's
ever
not
done.
how it works. It doesn't matter your size. It's about wearing clothes that fit you.
Yep.
And there are places
You've
that
got
can
it. You better
find
get
clothes
the
that fit
mustache
you.
out, and then you won't care.
I'll get it.
Yeah.
I'll get it once I do this. I'll get it. I'll wear
Yeah.
the Smurf hat. I noticed.
Smurf hat.
I noticed you dn't wear the Smurf hat
Oh,
as much.
this is a
Until
good
you
point.
got
This-
to, like, full
Well, it's
extent.
also winter and it's cold. And I
No.
don't have hair.
It's the mustache. It's
So
this. It's
it's-
this. It's this. It's this.
Yeah.
It does.
I'm
come-
surprised every time you take off your hat. I'm never
Me
expecting.
too.
there to be-
Oh my god.
Who is it?
Who is that?
There's a question that popped up that I'm really excited about. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead here.
No, go for it. Go for it.
I want to know what socks Rekcahdam's
I'm wearing-
Yeah,
I
I'm
need to
wearing the
know.
same
Let's
socks.
see
Throw
this.
him up. Throw him up.
Whoa!
What? The exact same socks.
Boom.
We're wearing the same socks. That's the
Brothers from
greatest.
another mother.
Thank you. You have totally legitimized my wardrobe today. I still want your hat, but you're totally.
If you want a head, I'll get
Oh,
I'll get
that's
one
greatest.
made for you.
Really? I do. I'll hold you to that. I've got a whole team of people who will hold you to
Awesome.
that.
Yeah, these are custom
want it.
hats, so I make them
I would like one. Just tell me what it takes to get one.
$40.
Yeah, I think it worked. I think it worked.
Great.
I
I
would
love
love to
that
see
hat.
more game socks, like game themed socks.
What are your socks?
like
Zach?
a Galaxy?
They're
Oh, they're
woodpeckers.
just woodpeckers.
They're just woodpeckers.
Well, I mean, what? That's what do you?
Just woodpeckers.
Star
Well,
Mazer,
it's-
I forget if I asked if you've ever answered me, but will there be a new game plus in Star? Every new game is a new game plus in Star Mazer.
I have those socks.
I don't mean that as a joke. I mean that seriously. Every time you play, it's a different story, and some of the stories build on stories that you've succeeded or failed at in the past. So every new game is a new game plus in Star Mazer.
It is built within the design of the game that exists.
Yeah. It's the truth. Does She's Pizza wear socks? What flavor would those be? Pizza flavored socks? And yes, she does. Rekcahdam, what do you want to see in Star Mazer? Or absolutely don't want to see? This is where we have to call you out on not having ever looked at Star Mazer before, bro.
I have looked at Starr Mazer before.
Well, then I want to know what you think of Starr Mazer first,
Okay.
and then let's get to what you want to see in it.
Well,
Absolutely.
actually, I saw Starr Mazer on Tumblr before I even knew it was a game, like a while back.
Nice.
Da-da-da-da.
And I thought it looked awesome, and then I found out that it wasn't a game, and I was like, oh dang. And now I found out that it is a game, and I'm like, sweet. But I don't know. I mean, I love shoot 'em ups, but I think my favorite part of the video that I saw, which I don't know if you guys have this, so please don't hate me, but there was like kind of like a semi battle system type thing. It seemed like that was going on there, and I really kind of enjoyed or was interested in that section of it, and I wanted to see if you like, or hope that you guys like delve more into that, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. Are you guys doing that?
What do you mean by a battle system? Like, can you tell us what you saw that made you think it was a battle system?
I think I
Maybe
remember.
you gotta speak to that.
I don't remember exactly, but I remember from looking at the trailer, there was kind of like a scene where there was a pedestrian or something, and you as the main character were like saving the pedestrian, and you had to, I don't.
You mean when Brick shoots
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
goon in
yeah,
the head and
exactly.
cuts? Yeah. No, that's you can blast anybody in Starr Mazer. You have a blast
Oh,
button.
that's
you
awesome.
Just shoot them. Anybody. Yeah, it's not always good. It's awesome for a minute until you realize
There's
that
consequences.
our world takes into account all that stuff. And if you just shot people, that's probably not the best. We're trying to tell a story where heroism is described in a more holistic manner than like having a gun and being white. So that's been a thing that we've said on literally every show. We talked about it at length when we had Rami here. Like this sort of, I grew up in a world where this guy was the only way you could be a hero. You had to be blonde, and you had to fly a fighter jet, and you had to have a gun, and you had to like ladies with big boobs. That was the only way to like be an actual hero.
It's the American.
You had to be. No, it was when I was in the 1980s. That was it. You were like a white dude who like was a. I was like, well, at least I'm the white dude. At least I got that part down. Like that was the worst thing when you start being like above fucking 8. And you realize like there's a whole giant world where it's complicated. Like why are there no fucking Mexican heroes? Why are there no black dude heroes? What's going on? And then you realize it's because there was, their country has a history and there's all the stuff. So I want to explore what it's like to be a hero by taking a hero that would be perfectly a hero in another time and make him not at all a hero. So like he's a hero. He can be a hero. He has it in him to be a hero eventually.
Yeah.
But just by being like white and a guy with guns, that doesn't make him a hero. Every game was like that. Somebody tried to challenge me on Kickstarter, like you said on the show recently, that point and click adventures are mostly white dude heroes. Well, name them, and I was like, all of that, every one of them. Which one was the not one? I don't know. Gabriel Knight definitely
King's
was.
Quest, some of the King's Quests where you're playing as the female characters. Those are
Okay.
the only ones I can think of.
Yeah, that's it.
and Kyrandia.
Okay, Kyran, yes.
was also
But
those two aside,
everything else was a white dude.
Yeah.
A blonde white dude, a brown hair white dude if they wanted like equality in their game. They gave him some fucking brown hair. Like that was it. And it was just and I had to recognize a long time ago, like I'd recognize, oh man, like this totally works for a small subset of Earth's populace, but for the majority of Earth this is not a thing. So there's that. Jim says,
Sorry,
okay,
real quick before you guys answer the next question, we actually have to get going.
you're
We're
gonna
gonna leave at 6,
have
so
to
we
leave.
stay a little bit longer.
yeah stay for like 8 minutes because that's when we're cutting because we have a thing we're doing. So 8 more minutes.
That works.
So Starr Mazer, have you played the Neverhood? And I think yes. In fact, Doug Tenaple is like one of my heroes. I backed
We talked
Armacrog.
about him last week.
We talked about him a lot last week. I was very sad that he had not responded to my emails. But the Armacrog Kickstarter was, I backed personally, not with my company, with myself. I backed Armacrog to a degree that I could not afford. I actually had to take on a separate contract gig back in the day when Armacrog went to to back Armored Krog at the level that I backed it. So you'd expect an email, I think. I'm kidding. That's
Salty. So
I'm
salty.
No, Doug Tennable is a hero of mine. The Neverhood is one of my favorite games of all time, forever. So yeah. Starr Mazer, will the sequels be able to manage the save state of the first game? Yes, absolutely. That's something we definitely talked about. When we finish this,
We're already in game 2.
we've decided, we've worked it out. We got to the 9th one already.
Yeah.
We're thinking 10 has to be a big one.
Yeah.
It's like the destiny of indie games. We're thinking 10 years ahead.
Yeah, sure.
No, totally. We got it. No. The gag was there's always been the question about sequels because we're going to be dropping content that changes a game over time.
Yeah.
And we said, people are like, well, what about the sequel? And it's like, bro, we're talking about a one game.
Yeah.
Like, let's get. So we just started saying the blanket statement. It's a true statement. Like, the sequel had to be reserved for so what's the next actual, in Alien and Aliens, right? They're not the same in any way.
No.
One of the 8 people on a ship,
Good
7
example.
people on a ship.
Good example.
Aliens had robots and hundreds of aliens. And all there's such a great vast divide between those things. You can still make an alien-like experience. Alien Isolation is effectively Alien. It doesn't have to increase to Alien's level.
Yeah.
It's its own core.
Yep.
Starr Mazer, Season 1 will be its own core.
Yep.
Season 2 will be when we come up with something after having gone through the rigors of developing Starr Mazer.
Mm-hmm.
When we come up with any idea that's outside of our scope, we're going to say, cool, let's put that on the Season 2 board and then revisit later. So, but he did. There is a legitimate question, which is, will it be able to manage save states from before? Yes, and in fact, one of the things we've been talking about a lot is the time travel mechanic, and we're I don't know if we're constraining it to, but we're definitely using the idea that the time travel mechanic at some point deals with things you actually did in other save states or other alternate universe stuff. So yeah, Austin, will there be any possibility to never blast in the game, apart from cutscenes and stuff? What's funny is this shows our history with games. We definitely were like, shit, you can shoot everything. It had not yet occurred to us to not shoot everything. I think mostly because the Star Wolf is 50% of the game, right? You're flying around in a ship blowing things up.
I like the idea of the
Depending
achievement
on
just being called Never Blast in
Never
capital
Blast.
letters.
Yeah.
Never Blast.
But the answer to that is it's going to depend on how you play the game. You might get yourself into a scenario based on the decisions you make that if you don't pull out your gun, you'll die. And I mean, maybe that's the end of your story and you never did shoot, but Brick's the kind of guy that gets into situations where he's going to have to shoot. So maybe is the answer. Maybe is the answer. It's all going to depend on how you play.
But I do think we definitely everything we're saying has to serve the story though, and that's the major impetus for Starr Mazer is storytelling. So there might be a point where shooting something has to happen to push the story along. That's in a way it needs to go. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's that. LaserKid says, are we going to cross over with Warframe? Our crossover list is pretty much. We haven't leaked everything or announced everything, but it's pretty much figured out. We had a distinct number of slots that we could fit crossovers in, and we went 2 above that. But they were very special things, like Mega Ran being an NPC in the game, and our crossover Shovel Knight is incredibly unique and super neat.
But if Tenno wants to do what Skyrogue did and just put the Star Wolf in the game, they should.
Skyrogue they came to us. They're like, that's the coolest ship. Can we put it in? And then 6 days later, it's flying around in Skyrogue.
You can do it right now. You can
play Skyrogue and play as the Star Wolf. It doesn't have thematically accurate guns, which is very sad. But it's okay. It looks great. The same with Robot Loves Kitty. They're supporters of us and close friends, and they dropped Brick into the latest build of Legend of Dungeon.
Oh, nice.
He's in there right now, and he's amazing. He's one of the best guys. So yeah, there's that. Austin, how will gamepad controls be handled? It's obvious in the shmup sections, but on foot with mouse movements be simulated. How does that work?
So my current thought for how you're the confusion with gamepad is how do you do the point and click adventure? Well, you've got a couple of different menu options, and this is the current thought. I need to iterate on this, so this might not be final.
None of this is final. We haven't started.
The current thought on this is that you're going to be using buttons on the controller to switch between your options. So go to, use, look, and whatever. Whatever option you're selected on, that's going to change the input of the game. So if you're on go to, that's actually controlling Brick, and you're moving around with your D-pad, your analog stick. If you go over to look, then Brick will stand still, and your analog stick and D-pad will change between the things that you can look at in the screen. Once again, no pixelating in this game. You can select the things that you can see on the screen. Whether that will actually extend beyond the screen and we'll move the camera, I don't know. We're going to have to decide whether that feels good or not. But basically, the way gamepad controls work is that you're switching between your options, and that will switch what the joysticks do and what is confirm and cancel.
Cool. So we're gonna wrap it up, guys, in 3 minutes. You can follow Austin and I over to an interview. Would you like to tell them about the interview?
Yes, we're interviewing with Orange Lounge Radio, which is going to be live, actually.
So it's basically just an extension of your show of Starr Mazer TV. We'll take it over and be just as enthusiastic there.
What is Orange Lounge?
It's a really cool radio show.
Cool.
What's
Are they orange enthusiasts?
I really hope they're actually referencing Orange Lounge as the song that was,
Yeah.
the artist from the Beat Me in a 2DX series. That's what I'm really. See, Zach knows. He knows. Which means we'll get sweet summer beats throughout the whole thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Is there a possibility we might see a Time Spinner crossover / cameo? We are very close friends with Bodhi Lee. We do know that at least the Bodhi Litsa is already in the game. We put it in the game
crossover
live.
achieved.
The Bodhi Lisa.
Yeah, the
I put
Bodhi
it at the
Litsa.
beginning.
You don't know the Bodhi Litsa?
What's the Bodhi Lisa?
Oh my
You have
god,
to go
it's
watch
incredible. You
that
didn't
episode
watch
of
our
Starr
show.
Mazer
It's fine.
TV.
Yeah.
What?
So Bodhi is really, he's not as extroverted perhaps as Austin as I.
Sure.
And forcing him to eat stuff on camera. This has been a very reserved show, by the way. Normally there's like antics. Big ones. We forced him to eat a pizza that we named after him, which is basically a Hawaiian pizza that Bodhi Lee eats, which is a Bodhi Litsa.
Oh, I thought you were saying Bodhi Lisa like it was a painting of him.
It's kind of a painting.
I would.
In
I
the
want
style
to
of the
make
Mona Lisa.
This is why I need to be an artist, so I can make these things.
So Starr Mazer, our Kazuo here just pointed out our show. We'll be on the show in 45 minutes. We're gonna discuss all kinds of cool stuff. But yeah, so that's that. We're gonna wrap up the show right now, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks, Rekcahdam, for coming on the
Thanks
show.
for having me.
Cool meeting you.
Thank you, Zach Aikman, for coming back. Thank you, Christopher Floyd, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thanks for being here. Thank you, Austin, for showing up. An hour late.
Thank you, Don.
I'm just kidding.
Thank you, Don,
Thank
for
you,
being
Don, for
here.
running the
Well,
show.
thank you. Actually, we should
Thank you,
actually
Kazuo.
thank Kazuo, who's
Kazuo.
given no
Kazuo.
toasties today. No toasties at all, which is very sad. Give a toast to say goodbye to our audiences. Toasty!
Peace out, guys.
And thanks, Vanessa, for directing the show, even though she's doing it from the other room. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you tomorrow with more Starr Mazer TV for your face.
Bye.